some deal.
What if I told you there's a man who didn't just move to Monaco? He rewrote its definition of luxury. They call him Zeus, not a myth, but a living symbol of ambition, extravagance, and mystery. In a nation smaller than New York's Central Park, he built his own modern Olympus, a world where golden supercars, private yachts, and million-dollar penthouses orbit around his name. Here, money isn't just power, it's identity. And Zeus? He turned wealth into performance art, transforming Monaco's skyline into the stage for his billionaire fantasy. But behind every glittering mirror hides a shadow, and even the brightest lights can conceal the deepest secrets. Welcome to Inside the Billionaires, where we uncover the stories that luxury tries to hide. Before we dive in, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on the bell, because what you're about to see goes beyond the headlines and deep into the untold world of Monaco's most mysterious man. And by the end, you might start to wonder, did Zeus build the fantasy, or did the fantasy build him? What if success wasn't inherited, but engineered? Long before the world called him Zeus, he was just a man chasing an idea, that wealth isn't only about numbers, it's about presence. He started with almost nothing, yet he saw something others didn't. The future would belong to those who could command attention. While most people worked quietly, Zeus made every move like a performance. He treated life as a grand stage, where image could build an empire faster than any stock or company. The cars, the suits, the watches, none of it was random. Each detail was a message, a symbol of control, confidence, and mystery. When he arrived in Monaco, people didn't just notice him, they felt his arrival. In a city already overflowing with the rich and powerful, Zeus became something different, a living myth. His golden lifestyle turned heads, his charisma opened doors, and his bold vision made Monaco itself seem like part of his story. From the shadows of ambition to the spotlight of luxury, Zeus mastered the modern art of power, not through force, but through fascination. But every legend starts with a spark. And soon, that spark would set the entire kingdom of Monaco glowing and burning at the same time. They say if heaven had a zip code, it would be Monaco. Just 2 square kilometers of land, yet every inch glitters with privilege. Supercars hum along streets lined with marble hotels, yachts the size of palaces drift on sapphire waters, and the night skyline sparkles like a crown of diamonds. This isn't just a country, it's a stage built for the rich, where money performs and the world applauds. For Zeus, Monaco wasn't a destination, it was destiny. Here, luxury isn't rare, it's the air itself. No income taxes, limitless privacy, and a reputation that turns wealth into legend. It was the ultimate setting for a man who understood the power of spectacle. In this microstate of magnates and movie stars, Zeus saw more than beauty. He saw opportunity. While others came to hide their fortunes, he came to amplify his. Every evening drive through Casino Square, every glass of champagne overlooking Port Hercules, all became part of his mythology. He didn't just fit into Monaco's story, he rewrote it in gold. But paradise, no matter how perfect, comes with its own set of rules, silent, unspoken, and unforgiving. And Zeus was never one to play by the rules. What if every object you owned could become a chapter in your legend? For Zeus, luxury wasn't simply comfort, it was storytelling. Every car, every marble floor, every reflection on the water was part of a grand narrative. The rise of a man who dared to live beyond limits. In Monaco, where even millionaires compete for attention, Zeus built an empire not just of wealth, but of wonder. It began with motion, the symphony of engines echoing through Monte Carlo's narrow streets. His garage wasn't a collection, it was a gallery of dreams. From a golden Lamborghini that shimmered under the Riviera sun, to a one-of-a-kind Bugatti custom-made to his design, each vehicle represented a different facet of his ambition. When Zeus drove through Casino Square, heads turned not just for the car, but for the man who made it his signature. Every rev, every flash of light across the hood reminded Monaco that image could be louder than fortune itself. Then came the sea, where the yachts of billionaires become kingdoms afloat. Zeus's flagship vessel towered among them, a marvel of glass, gold, and precision. Inside, every surface gleamed, from the Italian marble floors to the panoramic decks overlooking the harbor. Nights aboard weren't parties, they were performances, gatherings where success met spectacle, and every moment was choreographed to perfection. And high above it all stood his penthouse, carved into Monaco's skyline like a monument to ambition. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the Riviera, while art, fragrance, and light blended into a scene few would ever witness. Here, Zeus lived surrounded by silence, success, and a city that both admired and envied him. But behind that brilliance was a truth few understood. Perfection demands constant upkeep. Every symbol of victory comes with a shadow, and every empire, no matter how golden, carries the weight of expectation. What if your life itself became the most valuable brand in the world? For Zeus, luxury was never just about what he owned. It was about what the world believed he owned. He understood something few ever master: power. Today isn't measured in money, but in perception. And in Monaco, a land where appearances rule, Zeus became an artist, and his masterpiece was himself. Every detail was deliberate. His wardrobe wasn't fashion, it was armor. Tailored suits threaded with gold, watches that told more than time, and a signature scent that lingered like a promise. Each public appearance was carefully designed, from the cars he chose to the backdrop he stood against. The golden glow, the reflection of yachts, the Monaco skyline, all became part of the myth. He didn't just live in luxury, he performed it. Social media became his canvas. Zeus transformed daily moments into cinematic symbols: sunsets from his yacht, coffee beside rare art, or glimpses of his penthouse view. To millions watching online, these weren't posts. They were proof that the modern god of opulence was real. His brand, Zeus Gold, extended beyond possessions. It became a mindset, a lifestyle, a dream that millions wanted to touch, but few could afford to live. And yet, beneath the golden filters and flawless frames, the illusion began to take a toll. When the world expects perfection, there's no room for pause, no space for imperfection. The image had to shine, even when reality dimmed. Because behind the lens, every icon faces the same question: when does the brand become bigger than the man? And for Zeus, that question was about to change everything. What if the true power behind a man's empire wasn't gold, but grace? In Monaco, where beauty is currency and charm is strategy, the women around Zeus became more than companions. They were symbols of the life he had built, reflections of the world he ruled, and sometimes the mirror that revealed who he truly was. Every appearance with Zeus became a headline. Whether walking beside him through Monte Carlo's marble corridors or stepping off a yacht into a sea of cameras, these women carried an aura that matched his: elegance, mystery, and quiet authority. They weren't chosen for attention. They were chosen for alignment. Each represented a different part of the image he wanted the world to see: sophistication, intelligence, and power wrapped in perfection. But in the shimmering surface of those relationships was a deeper story. Behind every smile and champagne toast lay a silent understanding. In Monaco's high society, affection often walked hand in hand with ambition. Some admired him, others challenged him, and a few became legends of their own. They were not merely guests in Zeus's empire, they were architects of his mythology, helping him shape the narrative of success and allure that defined his reign. At galas, on yachts, and during private art events, they stood beside him like living jewels, the kind that can't be bought, only earned through influence and charisma. Yet even the most dazzling gem can cast a shadow. The more flawless the image appeared, the more fragile it became. Because in a city built on appearances, even loyalty can blur into leverage. And Zeus was about to learn that every empire, no matter how golden, is vulnerable to the power of human emotion. What if the most beautiful life in the world was also the most fragile? Behind the gold-tinted windows of Zeus's penthouse, the atmosphere was very different from the glamorous image he shared with the world. The laughter, the parties, and the glow of champagne glasses often faded into quiet rooms filled with strategy, calculation, and the pressure to stay on top. Because in Monaco, image isn't just influence, it's survival. As his fame grew, so did the whispers. Some questioned how one man could rise so fast, appear everywhere, and command such attention. Others wondered what truly fueled his empire. Was it fortune or something far more subtle? Connections, perception, and the ability to turn mystery into magnetism? Every rumor, every headline became both a threat and a tool. And Zeus, ever the tactician, learned to dance with both. Instead of running from stories, he reshaped them. He gave interviews that hinted at truths without revealing too much, shared glimpses of his life that looked authentic but were carefully constructed. Each move was a masterclass in control, the art of owning a narrative before it owned you. Yet behind that mastery was a man who had to watch every word, every look, every moment. Because in a world built on perfection, one misstep could crack the illusion. The higher his legend climbed, the thinner the air became. The spotlight that once crowned him now burned hotter than ever, and even Zeus could feel its weight. Still, he refused to fade. He doubled down, expanding his influence, refining his image, and turning every doubt into another reason to prove he could not be broken. But power has a pulse, and even the strongest heartbeat begins to race when control starts to slip. What if the legend you built began to live longer and louder than you? In Monaco, Zeus had already become more than a man. He was an idea, a symbol of ambition, style, and the fearless pursuit of beauty. Young entrepreneurs studied his confidence. Artists admired his flair. Even billionaires watched his rise, curious about how a single individual could turn lifestyle into legacy. To many, Zeus wasn't just successful, he was proof that audacity could rewrite destiny. But every symbol carries a double edge. The more his story inspired others, the less control he had over how it was told. Social media amplified his image into legend, transforming fact into fantasy. People no longer asked who Zeus was, they argued over what he represented. To some, he embodied freedom and creativity. To others, he was a reflection of excess and illusion. The myth had escaped the man. Zeus, ever the observer, began to sense the irony. The image he had created to project power had now become his own cage. Every new appearance had to outshine the last, every word had to sound larger than life. The perfection that once defined him now demanded constant performance, a role that allowed no pause, no imperfection, no truth. Yet beneath that golden surface, something genuine remained. For all the spectacle, Zeus's rise told a story about possibility, about daring to dream beyond your limits and crafting reality from imagination. Whether admired or misunderstood, he had changed how the world looked at success. Because love him or question him, no one could ignore him. But as every legend eventually learns, time reveals what fame cannot hide. And for Zeus, the next chapter wouldn't be written in gold, but in truth. What if, behind every glittering empire, there was a silence no one dared to film? Monaco is a city built on perfection, every street polished, every smile rehearsed, every night illuminated by wealth. But perfection often hides its own price. And for Zeus, the man who had turned luxury into legend, that price was solitude. The higher he rose, the smaller his circle became, until the only person left to impress was the reflection in the mirror. Behind closed doors, the rhythm of excess began to echo differently. The endless parties, the flawless photos, the constant chase for admiration, they started to feel less like celebration and more like repetition. The dream that once lifted him now began to weigh him down. In Monaco, everything shines, but not everything glows with meaning. People saw the yachts, the penthouses, the gold, but not the discipline, the late nights, or the unrelenting pressure to stay ahead. They didn't see the quiet moments on the balcony when even Zeus wondered if he had created freedom, or a beautiful cage. Because when your life becomes art, reality fades into the background. Still, the myth endured. The city that once watched him with curiosity now guarded his secrets with admiration. To Monaco, Zeus was part of its story, the man who gave its legend a face and its silence a pulse. Yet, every story has a final chapter, and the untold truth about Zeus isn't about how he lived like a god, but how he remained human in a place that worships perfection. Because in the end, paradise doesn't belong to those who own it. It belongs to those who understand its cost. From the shadows of ambition to the spotlight of luxury, Zeus built more than an empire. He built a story that captured the world's imagination. In Monaco, he became a symbol of what it means to dream without limits, to turn vision into reality, and to live every moment like it's a masterpiece. But beneath all the gold and glamour lies a reminder for all of us. True power isn't in what you own. It's in what you create, and in the courage to chase your own version of greatness. Here at Inside the Billionaires, we don't just talk about wealth, we explore the people, the passion, and the price behind it. Zeus showed that luxury isn't only about lifestyle, it's about legacy. And his story reminds us that even the brightest lives are built on risk, resilience, and relentless belief. If you enjoyed this journey into Monaco's golden world, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss the next story inside the world of billionaires. Thank you for watching. And remember, in every paradise, there's a story waiting to be told. See you in the next episode of Inside the Billionaires.